will now call this meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the January 22nd, 2015 City of Hollister Planning Commission meeting. May I have verification of agenda posting, please?
Yes, Chairman Huboy. The agenda was posted on Friday, January 16, 2015 at 3:07 p.m.
Thank you, Abraham.
Yes.
Commissioner Harvey, will you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Chris Alvarez. Here. Chairman Huboy.
Here.
Commissioner Torres. Here. Commissioner Lenore.
Present.
Commissioner Harvey.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. And we're looking at the minutes of dated December 18th, 2014. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move that we approve the planning commission minutes of December 18th as presented.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Communications from public on items not listed on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards for anyone who wants to address the commission on any items not on the agenda?
We do not have any speaker cards unless there's anybody who.
Okay.
We do not. Thanks.
Then we'll go into public hearings for item number 1, Growth Management Allocations 2014-6, filed by Award Homes, Ladd Lane, requesting 57 residential allocations for a total of 82 residential allocations on a property consisting of 19.49 acres in the R1 LPZ low-density residential zoning district located west of Ladd Lane and north of South Side Road, being more specifically described as APN 020-280-002. Staff report, please.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman Huboy. The applicant is requesting, as you mentioned, 57 residential allocations on approximately 19.49 acres of land designated low-density residential, located west of San Benito Street, east of Ladd Lane, and north of a portion of Southside Road. The applicant received approval for a tentative map number 2014-2 for 82 single-family units per Planning Commission Resolution 2014-28.
The project has been submitted to LAFCO and has received approval for the annexation. At the June 25th, 2014 Planning Commission meeting, the applicant received 25 residential allocations per PC Resolution 2014-21. The applicant received approval of the tentative map per PC Resolution 2014-28. A condition within the resolution requires the applicant to obtain the remaining 57 allocations needed to complete the subdivision prior to final map approval. 26 remaining residential allocations will carry over from 2014, which will make the total allocations for 2015 equal to 270. With this, staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt the resolution awarding 57 residential allocations to Award Homes to fully allocate the approved tentative map 2014-2 for low-density residential development totaling 82 units. Are there any questions for staff?
Any questions for staff? With no questions, we'll move into the public hearing at 6:05. Do we have any speaker cards?
Chairman Huboy, there are no speaker cards. However, the applicant is here. He is present in case he would like to come up or if you have any questions. Jim Sullivan.
Thank you, Abraham. My name is Jim Sullivan, representing Award Homes. It's good to see the Planning Commission again. As staff had brought up, this is a condition of approval that we have to get all of our allocations. If you guys remember, we had some really great, I think, things with the landscaped area. We had just gotten our first final map and improvement plan check comments back from the city. We're looking at resubmitting the map and hopefully going for final map approval in this early, next 2 or 3 months of 2015. I have let the school district know, because I know that it was important for the Planning Commission, about the influx of particularly new students. And I don't think that we'll actually have, the models should be up and running towards the end of the year, but really not until the school year 2016 will there be an influence on the school. And at the commission's kind of request to me 6 or 8 months ago, you guys had said, hey, let the school know that what's going on with your plans and when they could expect new students, and so I have done that. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Sullivan?
Nope.
I had just a, Mr. Sullivan, so when is your timeline for construction then?
It would be, we would be starting out with a grading permit, and I would say that probably towards the end of March, early April. That's predicated on us addressing the comments that, that the city of Hollister has given us on our final map and improvement plans.
Okay.
We feel that we can get that done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then so you grade, and then you put in the improvements similar to what has happened kind of on the Rakovich property. And I would say building permits being issued sometime during the summer, probably late summer. And usually we'll start out building, 3 to 4 model homes. The first actual closings would occur probably around this time next year at the earliest, I would say.
And one of the amenities is the Frisbee golf course, as I recall. right?
Yes, yes, that, and I think that we have 2 or 3 pretty interesting things. That was one of the comments actually was, okay, submit your landscape package as well. So that will be coming in with our next submittal.
Okay, all right. Just as a, just a comment on the layout of the site. With the east-west street, you get a lot of solar sites there, and then I see you got some retention areas. When you have the units facing south or, the rear yards, you're going to get a lot of solar access, but you have to be kind of creative with those units that are facing the other direction. See about getting daylighting in those units.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that's becoming more and more prevalent just in kind of new home design. I'm happy to report, as a homeowner myself, I just put solar on my house, and I'm just absolutely loving it. So
Okay.
it's great, yeah. With Semper Solaris, as an ex-Marine, I had to go with a Marine Corps-run company as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Chair.
thank you, Jim, thank you. Okay, anyone else would like to address the commission on agenda item number 1? No further speakers. I will close the public hearing now at 6:09 and bring it back to the commission for any comments and discussion on this. Okay. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I move that we adopt I move that we adopt PC Resolution 2015-1.
Yes, correct.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion for approval and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 1 has been approved. Congratulations. We go into item number 2, Growth Management Allocations 2014-7, filed by Robert Infelice, requesting 75 allocations for a total of 100 residential allocations on a property consisting of 22.38 acres in the proposed R1 LPZ low-density residential zoning district located north of Apricot Lane, west of Cannery Row, and south of Jacqueline Drive, being more specifically described as APN 020-060-011. Jill?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting 75 residential allocations on approximately 21.84 acres of land designated low-density residential and open space, located north of Apricot Lane, south of Jacqueline Drive, west of Cannery Row, and east of the industrial sewer ponds and the San Benito River. The applicant received approval from tentative map 2014-4 for 100 single-family units per PC Resolution 2014-42.
The project has been submitted to LAFCO and has received approval for annexation. At the October 23rd, 2014 Planning Commission meeting, the applicant received 25 residential allocations per Planning Commission Resolution 2014-29. The applicant received approval of the tentative map per PC Resolution 2014-42, and a condition within the resolution requires that the applicant to obtain the remaining 75 allocations needed to complete the subdivision prior to final map approval, which is why the applicant is here today. The City of Hollister has awarded a total of 57 residential allocations this year with this last application for Mr. Jim Sullivan for the Lad Lane subdivision so far. So now there are 213 allocations that can still be awarded until December 31st, 2015. With the approval of the 75 allocations for this applicant, for Mr. Robert Infeliz, to this project to be fully allocated for tentative map 2014-4, there would be 138 residential allocations available for the rest of the year. So with this, staff recommends the Planning Commission to adopt the resolution awarding 75 residential allocations to Robert Infeliz for the Apricot Lane project for low-density residential development to fully allocate the approved tentative map for a total of 100 residential units. Are there any questions for staff?
Any questions for Abraham?
None for me.
Okay. With no questions, I will open up the public hearing now at 6:13. Any speaker cards? Abraham?
No speaker cards, but the applicant is here if he would like to speak
Just
or if you have any
audience?
questions.
Just like to thank you again. Good to see you. Thank you for your service again, and I'm here representing Mr. Infeliz. He's not able to attend these meetings, but we'd like to thank you for everything you've done. And I did have one question, and I'm not making a complaint, and I'm not suggesting anything, but there was a question that different people have asked me that are going through this process of the allocation system sunsetted a few years ago, and how are we still going forward? And it's not the money, it's not the issue. We need to charge these fees in order to pay, you know, staff for what they do, because they do a lot of work. It just seems to me that this is an extra step for the commission and an extra step for staff that probably could be handled with a sunsetted ordinance. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was told wrong, but maybe the city attorney can correct me if I am wrong. I don't care. I think it's just something that you should look into, or maybe direct somebody to look at, because I think down the road you're going to get the right character that's going to say, well, you don't have an ordinance in place, and it's just going to start trouble. And let me tell you, we've been there before, so that's the only comment I have. And again, I'm sorry to bring it up, but I thought it was something that I just had to say and get off my chest. But thank you so much for everything you guys do. I appreciate it. And Mr. Infeliz appreciates it. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Do you have a comment on that?
Well, yeah,
Mr.
it goes
Scalabiotis'
beyond the
comment?
point, but yes, Measure U passed a growth control ordinance that has sunsetted. It recommended that the council take legislative action to extend some of the procedures. The council has declined to do so. It's been brought up a couple of times, and they have chosen not to, for whatever reason. They don't have to do it, but yes, it is something that we cannot enforce. And I have suggested to Billy, and I believe to Abraham, that maybe it should be suspended, meaning that we just acknowledge that it's not in force right now. Because it was originally passed as an initiative, it can't be amended except through another initiative. An ordinance, but it did require the council to take action, which they've refused to do, to extend. So I really don't see the purpose in, as Mr. Scaliotti said, I mean, we needed it to be fair in how the 1% of the number each year was allocated to different development projects, but those overall caps are no longer there. So the purpose behind it is gone. So I would just suggest that maybe with your consensus that, you know, you make the recommendation. I mean, it's a procedure here tonight that it's not necessary to take your time.
Okay, well, we can talk about that at a further date, and maybe we'll get it on the agenda for discussion
Right.
in the future.
Or make a suggestion that they do renew it and renew some kind of, well, maybe you don't.
It seems, you know, it's a good point. It seems pointless now because we don't have that measure U. so we
Yeah,
don't have
you
that
had a
constraint,
number
so
and you wanted
why
to
go through
distribute
this?
it to between like the people who are here tonight fairly. And staff is completely, you know, doing the subdivision map requirements, the design elements that you're having input on here, linear park. I mean, you know, that's the purpose of a planning commission, to get into the details, and a planning staff on those.
Right, I agree.
And that would, in my opinion, be a better thing for your time than simply rubber stamping, you know, now rubber stamping these allocations.
Yeah, the allocations do take staff time, and it is an expense.
I'll have to tell you, I was a big fan of the rating scale because it does bring about a better product.
The what?
I'm a big fan of the rating scale because it brought about a better product for us.
But at the same time, the rating scale is something that, you know, you can make it your policy in approving subdivisions. You don't have to say, sure, anything you want, rubber stamp.
Right.
You know, you do have,
We take these projects specifically and evaluate all the idiosyncrasies and peculiarities of each project as they come before us, and try to help guide the applicant to come up with the best project that's possible, with all things said and done. It's just, the procedures, maybe the procedures, some of the, we can look at perhaps making some changes, because we're, again, I mean, this is just going through this. We want to get to the meat and bones of these projects without, you know, undue procedures that are no longer required. So I think we'll need to talk about that in the future.
thank you, Richard, and thank you, Chair.
All right, any other speakers on item number 2?
No other speakers, Chairman Huey.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing now at 6:18. Discussion, comments? Okay. Then I entertain a motion for item number 2.
I'll make that motion to approve growth management allocations 2014-7, PC resolution 2015-2, as presented.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2 has been approved. Congratulations. Now we go on to item number 3, pre-zone 2014-8. City of Hollister requesting to pre-zone 51.83 acres of city-owned land use primarily as a spray field for disposal of reclaimed wastewater, with secondary land uses of passive recreation to the public, quasi-public city of Hollister zoning designation for future annexation into the corporate limits of Hollister. The property is located west of the San Benito River and south of San Juan Road, being more specifically described as APN 021-040-017 and 021-040-018. Abraham?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Huboy. As you mentioned, the applicant is requesting to pre-zone 51.83 acres of land to the Public Facilities Institutional Zoning District for annexation into the corporate city limits of Hollister to consolidate governance of municipal property. The territory proposed for incorporation is depicted in the screen and as attachment A on your packets. The primary land use on the property is a spray field for reclaimed wastewater, as you've seen for the past few years there on the site. The property has also been developed for passive recreational land uses with a large area of irrigated turf, a perimeter fence, walking paths, picnic benches, portable toilets, and a parking lot. Primary access to the property is from San Juan Road. The project site is located on the west side of of the San Benito River and outside of the City of Hollister General Plan planning area and sphere of influence as shown on attachment B and also up on the screen. The majority of the project site is surrounded by unincorporated properties. The exception is the city-owned parcel that is part of the industrial wastewater facilities. The western portion of the city lot is located within the floodplain of the San Benito River and is used for open space. The project site has been developed for municipal purposes as a spray field with secondary uses as passive recreation as mentioned. So therefore, the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 15301, coding existing facilities Class 1. The change in jurisdiction from the unincorporated area of San Benito County to the City of Hollister will not expand or alter the existing land uses.
The City Council approved Resolution 2014-207 at the November 3rd, 2014 meeting authorizing initiation of pre-zone 2014-8. Most of the project site is surrounded by unincorporated properties as shown in attachment C, or you could see right there as up on your screen. The area is circled in red. This is a 4.6 acre unincorporated parcel that would be located between the project site and Hollister's corporate limits. However, the 4.6 acre parcel and the project site are located outside of the City of Hollister General Plan planning area and sphere of influence on the west side of San Benito River. The City of Hollister is not proposing to annex the 4.6 acre parcel because there are no long-term plans in Hollister's general plan to extend municipal services west of the San Benito River and south of San Juan Hollister Road. One of the determinations that the Local Agency Formation Commission, or LAFCO, must make when approving an annexation is that services will be available. As stated previously in this report, the site has been developed for municipal purposes as a spray field and passive recreation. Extension of services will not be required upon annexation. This is per section 56742A of the Cortese-Knox Act. This allows LAFCO to approve a non-contiguous annexation if the property is owned by the city and used for municipal purposes. The proposed request may be considered non-contiguous because the spray field and park is owned by the City of Hollister, used for municipal services, and outside the Hollister's general plan planning area and sphere of influence. So with this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider recommending approval of pre-zone application 2014-8 to the City Council, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
I just have a couple questions. So it's presently being used as spray field,
That is correct.
and there is a park. That's passive recreation, secondary component of it, is that
The
correct?
secondary component, that's correct, Chairman Huboy. It is technically a spray field, but it does have passive recreation on the site as well, on the whole 53 acres or so.
Is it being presently used for passive recreation? Just curious.
That is correct. There is no developed
Okay.
outlined plan at this time there, but it is open for passive recreation.
Oh, it's open, so it's really, in the future, it's going to be developed for passive recreation.
At this time, it's
Is
used
that
for
the
passive
vision of it?
it Yeah, in the
Okay.
future, it may be
Walking trails
incorporated.
and that kind of thing?
Yes, that can be incorporated in the future.
Okay. Any other questions?
Did it have the ability to accommodate sports fields later on? It can accommodate that, right?
Yeah, Commissioner
In the
Laura,
future?
absolutely. That is one thing that can be done with that site in the future.
So the spray fields, this spray use doesn't have any conflict with recreation uses on there?
There's legalities that have to be resolved. For example, at this point, I'm not sure if a picnic would be allowed there because, so there's things that have to be
Okay.
resolved based on the
Mhm.
type of use of the spray field. But that's something that the city will look into
Okay.
before adopting a certain plan, if at all, for that site for the type of recreation that would be proposed. As you see in other parks like Vets Park, that's mainly used for baseball fields or other types of parks.
I wasn't aware that they were actually officially using it for a spray field. Yeah, I knew it was irrigated,
Yeah.
but it's been already spraying recycled, reclaimed waste?
From the tertiary plant that
Yeah.
was finally approved and back in 2008,
Right?
that is correct. The purple pipes have been extended, and my understanding,
Okay,
David could correct me if I'm wrong, but that is correct. Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you, I didn't know that. I thought it
Yeah.
was just being irrigated with water.
Yeah,
It's interesting, the compatibility of the spray field with the recreation.
that is, and we do have a very good wastewater plant. We have a tertiary plant, as you know. We collect the sewer, we treat it, and then it also,
I think that city staff
distributes
had a great idea 5, 6 years ago when they thought of that and proceeded with it. I think they should be commended for having that solution, securing that land. It was at great cost, but securing that land right there where it was able to get it over there. So good job on administration's part on that, and obviously engineering staff as well.
agreed.
If I may, I'd like to clarify that there are restrictions on the use of that part. Because it is using recycled water, the water cannot come into contact in the area where people would be eating, where children would be eating. The ability in the future, yes, possibly put in some permanent type play fields or some ball fields, but currently as it's used, it cannot be used for, have a permanent backstop or permanent goalpost or anything like that. It is totally passive. There are trails around it. I've seen people out there frisbee and fetch with their dog and other, whatever they can do that doesn't require a.
But a playground could be located? It's kind of permanent, but it's not a big field.
It would be, at this point in time, it would be really difficult to locate a playground actually on that because of the contact that children would have and the potential of water getting that. Because it is recycled water, it's very clean water, but it's not at the point where you can drink it. And so there are some restrictions to the use of that facility. The primary purpose is to use as a spray field.
And it always was.
And it always has been, and there's a certain time limit that needs to be continued. After that, and then a potential for a master plan in that area may be looked at. But right now, if you drive out there, it's green, not necessarily because of the rain we haven't had, but because of the spray water that is coming from our treatment plant.
So are you saying at some point in the future it might not be a spray field?
It's
As we
all,
expand another area?
it's all depends on what the future plans with the recycled water will be, and I don't have, I don't know what all that is gonna entail. But
Thank you.
that was just to clarify.
I guess if you're throwing a frisbee out there, you'd be careful not to throw it into a spray field.
Well, that
Don't
whole,
lick your frisbee, Dave.
don't lick your frisbee. It is all spray, it
Let your
is,
dog.
We like to
open
talk
his mouth.
about frisbees in this commission.
it is all spray filled out there, and there are a lot of restrictions on that.
Right.
Well, at
Okay.
least it's green.
Oh, thank you, David.
I have a question. How often is that monitored? Do we have to monitor it for,
It's monitored continuously. We
is there a
have
report
to.
somewhere?
The amount of water, there's reports available for the amount of water that's used out there, the quality of the water. There's requirements that water is not standing out there, so that there's no potential for a cross-contamination. So there are very certain requirements, and the regional board has required a number of different requirements be met, including reporting on an annual and quarterly basis.
Because I've seen people having picnics out there. There's picnic tables out there.
I believe there's rest area tables, maybe picnic tables, though that may not be.
That's what they were using it for, picnic tables,
Yeah.
when we went around there, so. And
There
then
are-
also there's a dog, I don't know, they train their dogs out there quite regularly. I asked Clint Lee about that, Clay Lee, and I never got a good, if we charge them for that, I mean, because they take over the whole park, can you,
Yeah, I couldn't tell you as an answer on whether or not they're
I'm just thinking
renting
of
the park.
liability too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
If
somebody
they-
gets sick out there,
It is,
Is it posted?
it is posted that they are using recycled water, do not drink that water.
I mean, but even if they just
don't eat.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was concerned about, if we're testing it and make sure that it's under per parts per million and all that, jargon or whatever it is, that, we don't not test it and something happens and all of a sudden we're liable.
It's, the water out there is continuously monitored for, chlorine residual and other constituents. The exact constituents that's being monitored for, I couldn't tell you right now.
Most tertiary treated water is better than flowing water in rivers, if the river ever flowed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments? Okay, so let's open up the public hearing now. 6:20. And who's going to represent this? Any,
Chairman Huvoy, there are no speaker cards
speakers?
for this project.
Dave, you want to represent it? Okay. No speaker cards. I think Dave's already probably said enough about it. Okay, so I will close the public hearing then. And bring it back to the commission here. It's 6:31. Okay, sorry about, I misread the time there previously. Okay, any comments on this one? Okay.
No further comments.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission on it?
Entertain a motion?
I entertain a motion, yes.
I move that we adopt resolution PC 2015-3, recommending to the city council the rezoning 2014-8 for the public quasi-public zoning district for these spray fields.
Okay,
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That item is approved. Now we'll go on to number 4, request to initiate general plan amendment 2014-1, Brigantino J&V FAM Limited, Part et al., and Hart Donald W. Carroll A. TR et al. Hope I said that right. The applicant is requesting the initiation of General Plan Amendment 2014-1 to designate 2 parcels consisting of 55.83 acres and 1.54 acres in the unincorporated area of San Benito County, but within the planning area of the city of Hollister, from high-density residential to medium-density residential, located northeast of the intersection of Buena Vista Road and Locust Avenue, east of the Public Independent Order of Odd Fellows, IOOF Cemetery, being more specifically described as APN 019-130-026 and 019-130-027. Before the staff report, I just want to disclose that I did receive a phone call from Scott Fuller today, and he just clarified the project parameters on a brief conversation on the phone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I'd too like to, he also called me.
Okay,
And myself as well.
very well. Call the commission. Thank you for noting that.
Just for giving us, giving me information.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you.
disclosing that.
The City of Hollister received an application requesting approval to initiate a general plan amendment for 2 county parcels, one consisting of 1.75 acres and the second consisting of 55.83 acres, for a total of 57.58 acres of land from high-density residential, which requires 12 to 35 dwelling units per acre, to medium-density residential, which requires 8 to 12 units per acre. The properties are in the unincorporated area of San Benito County, but within the planning area of the city of Hollister. The request also includes amending the sphere of influence to include the entire unincorporated area of the project site. The current county general plan designation of the site is rural urban. The proposed county general plan land use designation is residential mixed, which allows for 8 to 20 residential dwelling units per acre. The property owners have requested the pre-zone, annexation, and general plan amendment of these parcels as part of a tentative map application to subdivide their land, which includes the 57.58 acres in the unincorporated area of the county and another adjacent 23.11 acres located to the south within the city of Hollister city limits for a total of approximately 81 acres. The city of Hollister and the county of San Benito have met and determined that the city of Hollister will be the lead agency for this project.
Thank you, Jill. And the proposed net density for the 23.11 acre site that's more towards the bottom of the project, towards just north of the North Street extension, the city portion of the site is proposed at a ratio of 12 units per acre, consistent with the city's general plan. The approximately 57.58 acres in the unincorporated portion of the site includes over 28 acres of sloped area, proposed roadways, and area within the special study seismic zone that would be considered undevelopable. The proposed net density for the unincorporated area of the county would be 8 dwelling units per acre at this preliminary stage of the project. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the initiation of the general plan amendment from high-density residential to medium-density residential for these parcels in the unincorporated area of the county. Per section 17.24.290 of the municipal code, an approval is needed from the city council and planning commission for the initiation of a general plan amendment. The city of Hollister City Council at its January 20th, 2015 meeting approved the initiation of the general plan amendment for these properties. An environmental impact report will be prepared for this project, and a notice of preparation and a project description has been prepared and distributed to local, regional, and state agencies, as well as the neighboring properties in proximity to the project site for review and comment. Some of the agencies include the Hollister School District, the San Benito High School District, San Benito County Office of Education, Caltrans District 5, the Regional Water Quality Control Board, and the State Clearinghouse, amongst others. The comments from the notice of preparation will be incorporated in the preparation of the environmental impact report for this project. With this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider recommending approval of the initiation of General Plan Amendment Application 2014-1, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
I have a couple of comments. So my understanding then is, on the county's perspective, it's currently residential urban, or rural urban.
Yes, it's,
And when they approve their general plan, it would be residential mixed use, is that correct?
residential mix is what the pending general plan has for this site in the county. It's currently still being looked at. It hasn't been approved yet by the Board of Supervisors. I know they've been working on it for some time now, but it's pending residential mix, correct?
And then we came up with high-density residential, and this proposal is for medium-density residential. It's interesting
Correct,
how you can come up with all these different land uses.
correct.
The net density would mean then again that you take out the roads and all that to determine the number of units per acre.
That is correct.
Okay. That was it. That was my only comments.
So I think I asked you earlier today, so actually the high-density residential is sort of the same as the medium-density residential in the city, right? It's kind of the same amount of units.
The county's residential mix
Right.
proposed, yeah, it's almost
Similar.
consistent to the city's medium-density
Right.
residential. That is correct, regarding density,
Okay.
yes.
Any other comments or questions for staff? Okay, no further questions. We'll open up the public hearing now at 6:40. Speaker cards?
Mr. Chair, there are no speaker cards. However, the applicant of Gov Homes, which is the project applicant, is here in case the commission has any questions.
Okay.
It's Michael Evans.
Good evening, Chairperson, Commissioners. I'm Michael Evans. I'm a director for Gov Homes. We are the developer for this project. I'm happy to be in front of you. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm here to answer any questions you have. This is kind of a unique project due to the topography of the site. It's actually got a fault that runs down the middle. So we're getting creative and utilizing these spaces that are not developable so we can have a lot of open space, recreational, bike path, jogging path. What we call a par course is one of those courses where you run for a couple hundred yards and there's a sit-up bench, and it's got 18 or 19 different stations in it. It'll have a tot lot, a parking lot to access the tot lot, in playground area, which would be all ADA compliant. It's kind of a unique site that we're going to be working with the city on this to help one of your CIP projects on North Street to extend it straight through, and we're working with the city so we can help develop that. If you have any more questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Questions for Mike? Okay. No. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. I will now close public hearing at 6:42. And let's talk about this one. Any comments, questions?
I do have a comment. These kind of projects are, we're working with the, with the county. That's why I'd like to, again, sit down with them. Just kind of like we've had a meet and greet, make sure where the communication is. It seems like the communication is very good. I'm very happy. There was no problems or anything like,
No, they're actually on board. We have a monthly meeting with staff on this project, and they come in every 3 or 4 meetings to sit down and make sure it's proceeding in the right direction.
great.
We've had LAFCO attend,
Mhm.
so it's moving on.
Great. That's what I want to hear. But I'd like to also sit, just sit down with them and
You're more than welcome to come and look at the project.
see how they, yeah. But I'd like the two commissions, the county planning commission and just so that we can kind of, know where each other is going and things like that.
We'll see if we can get that
It's,
set up in the
Yeah,
future. 'Cause-
I think it'd be a great,
He's been
yeah.
asking for a while, so
Yeah, well,
he's, has an interest in it, and
I'm not gonna quit beating that.
let's see if we can get that on the future agenda.
accommodating.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The ultimate development, though, I'm correct, the ultimate development will be in the city limits.
That's
after it's,
correct.
Done annexing.
Mhm.
That is correct. That is the goal,
And they're
Commissioner
working
Leonard.
on the tax sharing agreement.
They're working on a tax sharing
which is a
agreement as
very
well.
important thing, I'm sure they're hammering that out.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
big one.
The,
Yeah, the council took the first step Tuesday night, would have been Monday, but Tuesday to do the pre-zoning, so it's being moved. And, we've cleared up some misconceptions. The county didn't think we were in favor of going with a San Juan Batista-style tax sharing agreement, and we clarified that, yes, we were. We don't need to make penalty payments to them.
I read it a couple of years ago, it's not fresh in my mind now, but, yeah, it's quite complex, I have to tell you, if you ever wanna read something that tells the story of how it works, you read that tax sharing agreement, it's a lot of money. I could see why they would be a little bit anxious, and I've been in planning for a long time, and I always said, gee, they just, cry about everything
Yeah.
sometimes, but after I read that, I have to tell you, I was even a little surprised at the amount of, how many fees and the amount of them, so, I'm a little more sympathetic to,
yeah.
I think, the year end now than I was before, and, that's a good thing, you always wanna see both sides.
Yes.
So that was interesting reading. I'll have to read the finished product when they get done with that.
At the, getting back to this site and the difficulty factors of the seismic fault and the actual terrain, the slopes, it does make sense to have a decrease in the density requirement, in my view. Any other comments on agenda item number 4? Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission? I'll go ahead and make the motion to initiate the general plan amendment. What's the resolution on this?
2015-4.
4.
215-4? 215-4. I will make that motion to go ahead and initiate the amendment.
And amend the sphere of
And
influence.
amend the sphere of influence.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Item number 4 has been approved.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay, if you put a Frisbee golf course there's going to be Frisbees going all over the place.
And you could lick that one.
Yeah, that's a good spot for it.
I don't know about you, but I'm very excited for North Street. It's been a dream going through there. And
Yes,
we need that east-west,
that's been planned for quite some
direction
time.
there, over there, and it's sure to benefit the Buena Vista Road area. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. And it's,
Downtown too.
mhm. Okay, new business. Any new business to report?
No new business items, Chairman Huber.
Okay. Department reports.
No reports at this time.
No reports. Planning Commission reports. Commissioners, report? Okay. I don't have any report. Well, then I entertain.
I do have a report. I'm gonna, I've talked with Bill about the growing homeless encampment down on the west side. I don't know if you've had a chance to go by there.
I've seen it.
I've heard more than a few comments. Have any of us, have you been by there, Greg?
Which
Over
Yeah,
there,
it's down by the river on
Uh-huh.
our side. I believe that's our side of the river, right? Is that
It's just the river.
yeah.
San Benito.
There's
Bridge?
quite a large homeless encampment down there, if you have a chance. It
Mhm.
started out as one little tent, now it's grown to several.
Mhm.
You know, Bill and I had a, conversation about that, and, I mean, they're starting to, get trash down there. There's people, walking back and forth quite a bit, down there. I'm afraid, there's gonna be, an accident and a lot of bikes,
Mhm.
and it's just growing, and, I don't want it to,
Well, they got shoved off of Park Hill.
yeah, that's the,
Right
Right.
there.
yeah.
I'm
You know,
hoping they find a
yeah.
home
It's
for
something that we
them.
need to
Yeah,
address.
I will say this, is that our firm has been working on a project with the mayor for microhomes, and
And we're doing something out of the
community service
community
project.
services, right?
Mhm.
So that hopefully was gonna alleviate.
But it does
It did
become a concern because of the one they had in San Jose and the amount of money that they spent to clean up that. It was like $4 million.
We do need to be careful with that, and Santa Cruz had the same issue, because they are near the river, and
Mhm.
there are things that you have to be careful right there.
Environmental
or
impacts.
We could get the whole fishing game down on us.
Right.
That should be a code enforcement.
So,
Yeah.
that's in my district, so that's why I'm, bringing it up,
Uh-huh.
and I'm very concerned. I know people are talking. I know there's things going on, but I just, want it not to be hidden down there. I want it to be out and people to know and be concerned about it, because, we should be, humanitarianly, we should be, concerned about that, 'cause those poor people, it's cold out there.
I know.
Where is
Sure.
Mhm.
restrooms, garbage,
Not the same concern about Dunn Park. I mean, it's not to that extent, but I mean, you got kids and everything and like that, and it's pretty, it's just, to me, it's a code enforcement thing. Like,
Mhm.
it's not, the things that are going on shouldn't be allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm concerned about some of the drug element,
Mm-hmm.
that's a concern.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
Right.
there's just.
There's a lot of
stuff that you
drinking that
see.
goes on down
We-
there. Right.
We keep a pretty close eye on it because we were across the street, so it's an issue for sure. It needs to be dealt with.
Well, we do have a homeless coalition here for the county, and we do have our shelter over there off the South Side Road, but unfortunately, it's not for everyone. And this is an issue. I'm hoping that sometime in the future, the faith ministries and nonprofits get together and come up with a resolution to see how we can help these people. It's not just a matter of enforcement, it's a matter of finding homes
Yeah.
and finding a decent place to live. So that's my view. Okay. Well, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I
Chris.
mean, here
You
we
know,
are approving
it is
million-dollar
growing concern.
developments, and people don't have homes or anywhere to,
I know the city's
that's
working
my
on it, though.
concern. Yeah, oh, yeah, no, that's why I talked with Bill, and he assured me that, it's on the,
Yeah. Okay. That's a solemn note to end our commission meeting on, but any other planning commission reports?
I make a motion that we adjourn?
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
all right,
We are adjourned
thank you.
until February 22nd, 26th, 2015.